Good evening. Welcome to another in the series, Master Your Life. Welcome to Master Your Life. I am Winroy, and today we will be looking at 5 ways how we can focus our attention. Why is it even important to focus our attention? Well, it is important to do so because the universe reads our attention as our intention. So whenever we say we have an intention to do something or be something or to have something, but instead our attention is focused on something else, then all that happens is that we remain in a state of indecision and we fail to move forward. So one of the ways we can move forward is to learn to focus our attention. So it makes sense, right? It makes sense. So if you want to master your attention, you should seek to master your intention. As usual, I believe what it is that I'm about to share will be of benefit to your friends and your colleagues. And as such, I really encourage you to share this video. I'm also inviting you to comment as you go along. And usually, I love to start with a story, and this week is no different. So I'd love to tell you a story. And this story is about this high jumper. I'm going to call him Johnny. Now, Johnny was only 5 feet 8 inches tall. He really loved high jumping, but nobody really took him serious. Nobody. And the reason why people didn't take him serious was because he was such a short person to be doing high jumping. Now, every day Johnny would run up to the bar. In high jumping, you have a bar, you run up to the bar and you clear the bar. So Johnny would practice. He would run to the bar, he would flex himself, and he would heave himself over. Many times, of course, knocking down the bar. However, it took him a while, but before long, he could clear his own height. And of course, his height is 5 feet 8 inches. So, after a time, with practice, he was able to clear 5 feet 8 inches, which really was no small feat considering that he was a beginner. So I want to say kudos to Johnny, yeah? I'm putting myself in the story, and I want to say kudos to Johnny. And with each passing month, what Johnny would do would lift the bar a bit. And then, with much practice, he would knock it down, and again knock it down, until finally he was able to clear 6 feet 1 inch. Well, Johnny was in a competition. By this, it was the end of the season, and Johnny was in this competition which was happening, and it was fierce. And the bar in the competition was raised to 6 feet 4 inches. Now remember, Johnny's limit up to the last time he jumped was 6 feet 1 inch. Now that was all he had been able to do up to that point. So on his first attempt, he knocked down the bar. On his second attempt, guess what? He knocked the bar down again. But as you know, in high jump, you have 3 attempts. Before his final attempt, he went over and he spoke with his coach. He had a dialogue with his coach, and his coach said, look, this is what you're going to do, man. So he discussed with his coach how to thrust his head, how to arch his back, and how to flip his foot. And they also focused how to focus his mind. Yes, they talk about how to focus the mind. And then Johnny walked up to the bar and he stared at it like it was almost there, and he was giving it this dare or accepting a dare from the bar, and he said, I will go over you. Then Johnny went back to the starting point. He took a deep breath and he ran. He flung himself into the air and he flipped as never before, and he cleared 6 feet 4 inches. Johnny won the competition. That's great, right? Johnny won the competition. Now, so what we want to talk about today is 5 ways how we can focus our attention. And the thought I want to share with you is that the universe reads our attention as our intention. So going back to the thought that you say you want to do something, the moment you say you want to do something, it means that that is where you're focusing your attention. And in fact, that is your intention. So the question is, what can we learn from that story? What can we learn from the accomplishment of Johnny, who was just a 5'8" high jumper, who really very few people believed in him, but he was able to have that accomplishment of jumping 6 feet 4 inches. Well, here is what I would love to share for us today to look at. You see, when Johnny was interviewed after the competition, he shared quite a bit, and some of which he shared we'd like to discuss. But the question was asked of him, Johnny, how did you accomplish all of this? And he said quite a few things. So here is what we're thinking now that we should do if we want to master our attention, which is really to master our intention. And the first thing of the 5 ways I'm going to share is that we must keep raising the bar. Yes, keep raising the bar. Johnny did that. He did that in his mind first, and then he did it in reality. So remember, Johnny started out by not being able to clear his height. He believed that he was going to be able to clear that height one day. He also believed that he was going to clear even a higher height. So a way to master our intention in keeping raising the bar in our mind is to really do it imaginally. You have to do it in your mind first. We have to keep setting new heights for ourselves. Now recall that, and I would have shared this on calls before. Remember, everything starts with a thought. Yeah? Everything. There's nothing before the thought. Everything starts with a thought. And I want you to think about it for a moment. That thought really is your intention. So it's my intention to have this call at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's my thought, and that's my intention. And I have to do everything to make sure that happens. Now, remember, your thoughts will cascade into your feelings and your action. Well, the feelings and the actions, like a combo, would serve as your attention, because what you're thinking and what you're doing is now saying, this is what you're placing your attention on. This is how the universe reads it. As an example, let's say you're reading a book, but you're somebody who wants to go and play a game of football. But the thing is, the game of football has already started, but you really want to finish the book. But here's what you're doing now. You're kind of dividing your attention, because while reading this book, it's like your mind is not fully on the book, nor is it fully on the football, because you want to do both. And that's where feelings and actions come in to form this combo of sorts to say it's attention. So again, where you place your attention is your intention. And then, of course, feelings and actions will cascade into results. So if you don't focus your attention properly, it means that your intention is not necessarily going to be realized. In other words, that's the result you get. So we have to see what we want in our mind first, right? My own thinking goes back to people who kept raising the bar. And by this I mean, like, you fail in some sort of way, but you didn't give up. In your mind, you believe that you could still achieve what you didn't achieve the last time. And if you think about our own Alia Atkinson, yes, in swimming, she could have given up. I remember it was really difficult, but she kept raising the bar in her mind, at least me looking on, that's how I feel. And she came and she became a champion. Bridget Foster Hilton did a similar thing in hurdling. There are many years she was just going, but clearly she kept raising the bar in her mind. In other words, one day she would achieve that objective that she had intended for, right? So I recall that these people, as I use as examples, they could have given up, but they kept raising the bar in their mind. So that's the first way I believe that we can certainly focus our attention, which means to fine-tune our intention. The second way that I propose that we could go about focusing our attention is being able to let go of mistakes. For me, mastering attention requires letting go of mistakes, because mistakes really, if you hold on to them, they keep you in the past, because that's really where they reside. Think about it. There's no mistake in the future. When you say you take and you make a mistake, it's only in the past. It can't be in the future. So mistakes must remain in the past. So we should never really let our past mistakes dictate what we believe we can do now or in the future. In fact, I believe we should view mistakes not as mistakes, but as feedback. Because when you make a mistake, yes, really, it is saying in an instructive way, this is how not to do it. So that's feedback. So I'd rather look at mistakes as feedback than as mistakes. So letting go of mistakes, you want to do that, and you have to do it in a very imaginal way, focused way, right? So when we let go of mistakes, we are finding it easier to imaginally, in this case, jump higher and higher and higher. And that's exactly how people who succeed do. They pay attention to their wins. So they learn from every opportunity, whether you call it mistake, they let go of that mistake and they move on. In fact, it makes intuitive sense because think about this. Whatever you focus on gets bigger. Whatever you focus on gets bigger. So if you say, oh my God, I made a mistake, and for that moment you're holding on to this view of having made a mistake, for the next few seconds, where are you? Are you beyond the mistake or are you in the mistake? You're still in the mistake. So when you focus on moving past the mistake, you're growing bigger in believing in what you can achieve rather than what you did not achieve. In fact, Thomas Edison proved that to be true. Thomas Edison kept going even after failing over 10,000 times in harnessing light from the light bulb. Yes. In fact, they said to him, Thomas, are you going to still keep trying what doesn't work and you just keep failing? He said, well, I really didn't fail. I just found 10,000 times how not to do it. Yes. And that's how successful people think. Successful people put themselves out there and they stumble, and that's okay. But they rarely make the same mistake twice. So you're not going to repeat what you did and it didn't work, or unless you really believe you did something wrong when it should have worked. So for me, the real mistake is not learning from a mistake. So you make a mistake, you don't learn from it, that's a mistake. The next thing I believe we want to do, while I take a sip of my water, is to give yourself a break. And what I mean by this, I used to think that the harder you are on yourself is the more you will hold yourself back in going forward. And I still believe that actually. And that's the reason why now I'm thinking you really should give yourself a break. You should give yourself a break just the same way a child who is learning to ride a bicycle would attempt to ride a bicycle, would fall, get up, and attempt to ride again. Or even learning to drive a car. Well, as an adult, I learned to drive a car. And my own story is one of then not giving myself a break. I learned to drive a stick shift. And for me, I remember the day when I felt very much challenged. That clutch thing, I was just not getting it. I was on the hill and I was just not getting it. So my challenge was the clutch. And I literally remember honestly giving up. And it is this person who was teaching me. He said, look, man, don't worry about it. This is how it is. You're going to feel like giving up, but just give yourself a chance. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to check you and we're going to do this and we're going to get it. And, give thanks that this person really held out and insisted that I would just join him in the morning and I would just practice again. And I practiced and I was able to drive. I can drive. So my point really is that we need to really give ourselves a break sometimes. Think about it. Do you know any baby that gave up on walking? You know, I've thought about it every time. A baby starts off walking. Well, not really walking. A baby starts off attempting to walk, falls down, gets up, falls down, gets up, and so on. But I don't know any baby that said, this walking thing is really difficult and I can't be bothered with it. Well, probably they're not wired to think it through like that. Probably they were just wired that way. But that's an analogy for you to think about. You really shouldn't be so hard on yourself. So if a mistake still haunts you, you really should seek to let go of it. Ask yourself what it is that you have learned from that experience. Call it an experience. And then how can you repattern how you think about it in order to move on? As I got some help in repatterning how I thought about the clutch and driving, so I was able to move on, and today I'm able to drive. The next thing you want to be able to do in focusing your attention is step number 3, which I call keep pressing forward. That's what Johnny did. Johnny kept pressing forward. So every time he went up to the bar and he failed, he kept pressing forward. He could have given up. And if you think about it, pressing forward is in our nature. It is our nature to press forward. You know, a man goes down, the man gets up. The man is broke and he's no longer broke. He is acquiring some wealth. So really, it's in our nature to press forward each and every time. Now, I take a look at the design of the human body, just like when I'm sitting in front of you here. This is my head. I'm looking at the build of my body. And I believe that not only were we designed to press forward, but the design, the physical design of the body is for us to move forward. Think about it. My head, my eyes are at the front of my head. They're looking forward. They're not in the back of my head. My arms, they have a reach, but the reach more comfortably is forward than backward, because we're supposed to move forward. Our ears, they're like at the side of our heads, and the hearing is such that they're better at the sides than in the front, because the sound comes and the lobes of the ears are like this. So when I even think about just the design of that body of ours that we use each day to press forward, we were really designed to press forward. So it's natural for us to press forward. And I'm suggesting to you that when you keep doing something that's not working out, just keep pressing forward, because you know what your intention was. You want to focus your attention so you can fine-tune that intention. The next thing that I would recommend that we can do to focus our attention is to expect the best. That's one thing we can say for sure that Johnny did. Johnny was 5 feet 8 inches, but he expected the best. He expected that he was going to be champion. He expected that he was going to clear his height. He expected that he was going to clear 6 feet 1 inch. He expected that he would win the competition. That was his expectation. And when you think about expectation, expectation is in alignment with where you're focusing your attention, which is your intention. And we must do this in the absence of others' approval. Because remember, people thought that Johnny was too short. In fact, his coach initially thought he was too short, but Johnny didn't think so. And it's the same way I'm encouraging you that in your pressing forward, and in this case, expecting the best, you should not validate the thoughts of others as they think about you. It's more important about how you think about yourself in expecting the best. You must believe more in your capabilities than what people have defined of you. And Johnny certainly did not need validation from anyone. Johnny believed more in his capabilities. He was able to set his intention and tune that attention only for the best. He focused his mind. Everybody else looked at him. And I said, even his coach, everybody else looked at him, and even his coach. Let me just fix this. Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. So Johnny focused his intention beyond what his coach was thinking initially, or what others were thinking initially. And what did he do? He expected the best. So he did not see himself as a 5 feet 8 inch person who was not going to make it in high jumping. He saw himself as a champion. And in fact, think about it this way. Not one of us is really meant to settle for mediocrity. Remember, we're champions. We're winners by design. If we were designed to press forward, It simply means that we're also winners, but we must first believe it. In fact, it was Nelson Mandela who reminded us that there is no passion to be found in playing small, in settling for a life than the one you're capable of living. Yes, Nelson Mandela reminds us there is no passion. There's nothing happy about playing small or settling for a life than the one that you're capable of living. And Johnny knew this very well, that he expected the best. He did all he could. He put out all the effort, and he was champion. So my encouragement to you is that you really should go after your dreams, whatever they are. As long as they are positive, go after your dreams. Believe in your dreams and expect the best. Expect the best. The last way that I would recommend that we can focus our attention, which is to fine tune our intention, is really to get in touch with our purpose and lean into it. Yes? Whatever you believe your purpose to be, finding out what your purpose is might take some spending time with yourself, going deep. Think about, why were you designed? Why were you placed on this earth? And when you come to that understanding of what your purpose is, lean into it. Lean into it. Because it is when you lean into it, you're playing big. Your purpose might just be bigger than your understanding. Yes. Like, I believe my purpose, I see myself like, like a jigsaw puzzle, and you have the different pieces. I have a role to play. You have a role to play. We all have a role to play. And I believe that each of us have a unique role to play. Sometimes our roles could overlap, but each person, just like how we have an individual thumbprint, I believe we were purposed in a special way. So you want to find what your purpose is and lean into it. So for me, I believe my purpose really is to motivate and inspire people into a life of purpose and passion. Yes, letting them know that, just like Nelson Mandela said, there's no point in playing small and not living the life that you could live if you can dream it up in your mind, right? And we can play small, but if we really open up our minds and open up our thinking and dream, we'll recognize that there is an ocean of possibilities. And it is within that ocean of possibilities we'll probably come to discover what is our passion, and by extension, what is our purpose. Because I believe that many times our purpose is somewhat intertwined with our passion. So like what I'm doing here now, I just love this. And I've come to realize that this is my purpose. So I encourage you to get in touch with your purpose, whatever it is, and lean into it. Lean into it. We should really allow ourselves to stretch our thinking. We should dream. Yes? Dream beyond your current circumstance. What it is that you could be. What is it that you would love to be? Stretch your mind into that thinking and lean into it. And Johnny did that. As a 5 feet 8 inch person, Johnny believed he was a high jumper. Very few people thought he was. He believed he had within him a high jumper. Last week we spoke about wood, or the week before we spoke about wood carvers getting a piece of wood, a raw piece of wood, and what do? They carve out something out of it. Now you could ask them, who did you see that which you carved? And he said, he carved away everything that is not what he saw. So Johnny saw in him a person who was purposed to win that competition because he loved jumping, and he knew with practice and with the expectation of the best in his mind, he could stretch his thinking, take the appropriate action, and leaned into his purpose and became champion. And that's what he did. This is an elastic band. And when I talk about purpose and leaning into it, this elastic band, for example, will never, ever realize its purpose if it remains like this. If it is not stretched, it would not have served its purpose. So it was designed just like this. But until we put it on something and stretch it, it would not have served its purpose. And in a figurative way, we are like elastic bands. If we don't stretch our thinking, probably we will never know what our purpose is. Yeah? So I encourage you to get in touch with your purpose and lean into it, because that certainly is one way how you can focus your attention and step into your greatness, just like John. So it's almost the end of the call. As usual, I really encourage you all to share this video, tune in each week at 8, follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram at Winroy Williams or PQ Coaching, follow me on Twitter at Winroy Williams, like, view, comment, share. I'd love for you to do all of that. I also have a website, which is winroywilliams.com. I'd love for you to go there and claim your free gift, which is really an ebook. It's called 50 Powerful Quotes for Motivating You. Just go there, put in your first name, put in your email, click submit, and then the book should come to you after you have confirmed your email address. Or if you're interested in coaching, if you're interested in having me come speak at your organization or train a team of your individuals in your organization, I'd be super delighted to do so. Just send me an email at winroywilliams@gmail.com. So, in summary, what did we look at this week? We spoke about the importance of focusing our attention. And why is it important to focus our attention? Is because the universe views our attention as our intention. And we spoke about 5 ways how we can focus our attention. And we use the story of Johnny, a 5 feet 8 inch jumper who mastered high jumping. He mastered high jumping by doing these 5 things. He kept raising the bar. He let go of mistakes. He kept pressing forward. He expected the best, and he got in touch with his purpose and leaned into it. And I encourage you that as a way to focus what it is that you intend to do tomorrow, or next week, or next month, or next year, or whenever, I want you to probably consider using these steps from this story that we shared about John, and get in touch with your greatness. Just like Mandela says, there's no point in playing small. There's an athlete within you that's a winner. Bring that athlete out. It starts by thinking in your mind and making it into reality. So I want to say to you, there's no point in playing small. There's no point in believing the masses that because you are small, you're short, you're not educated, you're not rich, you are black, or you're white, or you're fat, or whatever the case may be, whatever paradigm you might feel that people are ascribing to you. You don't need to accept that. You don't need to validate their affirmations of you, which are kind of negative. You want to focus more on your knowing of your capabilities. You want to focus on your knowing of your greatness. And take these 5 steps. Focus your attention. Fine-tune your intention. And go for the breakthrough and get the results that you need. So, until next week, I'd ask that you keep focusing your attention on the results you desire. And until then, take care. I am Winroy, your life mastery coach. See you